this was something spoken of on one of my lives that I recently had on Facebook and YouTube. Is the fact that religion is a smart business idea. They sell an invisible product, and if it doesn't work, they blame it on the customer. Now we know in most businesses this will not work. This will not work at all. But in the religion business, because it's based on faith, it easily works. Let me give you an example. When I was about 15, 16 years old, and I was working as an usher in a church, and I was holding the door where the deacons go in and out, I was going through a massive sinus infection. Now I'm 51 years old, and when I was 15, 16, the idea of sinuses was something that was still in clinical trials, but they did not know that these were sinus infections at the time. So the preachers and the deacons saw that I was wavering and sweating and feeling sick. They came over and they decided they was going to lay healing hands on me and pray for me. They prayed for me for about 15 minutes or so. And the whole church was hooping and hollering and praying, and everybody was all involved. Now, at the end of the prayer, they asked me, how did I feel? How did I feel? I felt no different. I felt the exact same way I felt before, because this was a medical condition that I was dealing with, and did not know everything that was going on about it. So when they took me into the back and asked me how was I feeling, again, I told them exactly that I felt the same. At that moment, they began to blame me. They began to say that, well, you don't feel you don't have enough faith. It is your faith that is weak. And they began to quote other portions of the Bible where the Jesus character heals someone and he says it is by your faith that you are healed. The one that I remember most vividly is when the woman with the issue of blood touched the hem of his cloak. He said he felt the power go out of him, and then identified the woman and told her that by her faith she is healed. So they let me know that it is my faith that heals me. It is not them praying over me. And because I did not hold the faith that they believed that I should have held, then I was not healed by the situation. Now, do I believe and know that your mental power can be strong enough in order for you to heal yourself? Yes, this is something I have done multiple times after I left Christianity, that I decided that this body was going to do what I decided for it to do, that I've meditated over the fact that I was fighting this battle of any virus or bacteria that is in my body, and eventually I win each battle. But the problem is that I realize this within myself, whereas the church wants you to believe that it comes from something outside of yourself. As long as they can perpetuate this myth, then they can convince you that it is because of your faith that you are not receiving whatever it is you have been promised. I have met many people and dealt with many people who have said that they have given money to the church and that they believe that it is supposed to be shaken and poured over and overflowing and things of this nature. And then when I ask them about their own personal finances, do they have a budget? Are you adhering to your budget? Are you spending more money than you receive? Then, and when I see that they are doing the opposite and they are doing those things, they're spending more than they receive. They are not maintaining a budget. They are trying to be flashy, especially here in Atlanta. They're trying to be more flashy than they are trying to live within the means or make themselves more valuable to the marketplace. That all this money that they have poured into this church, they are not receiving this blessings of finances, this overpouring of wealth. They may win a little scratch off here and there. They may get a refund check here and there, but this is money that you own. You own the refund check. The mortgage company should have given you a refund check by law because you have paid too much into your mortgage, whether it's the taxes or the insurance, or you were playing a scratch off. If you had not went and played the scratch off, you would have never gotten that money anyway. But look at how much money you put into scratch offs over the years in order to win $500, $5,000, when you have poured in well more than that. If that money had been taken and invested in something more solid, then you would have made that money or more in an earlier time frame. So it is a belief that can convince people that just by believing in this, you can achieve all these things. But if you don't, it is your fault. It is because of you. I've met many guys who have went into prison, get out of prison, then become pastors because they realize this is the best legal swerve that you can put on people and get money than almost anything else. Of course, they say I went into jail. I wasn't a true believer. I found God while I was in jail. I got out of jail, and now I am a warrior for God. I am trying to keep people out of prison. And there are some that have those good intentions. There are some who have that emotional um, impact, that emotional hit that causes them to move into religion. I am a fan of Malcolm X, and you can see that in his life, that he was a Christian by birth, grew up as a Christian, suffered a hard life, went to prison, found Islam, and got out and became a great preacher for Islam and for civil rights. But then he had another emotional impact when he realized that uh, Elijah Muhammad was not the hero, not the person that he believed him to be, and then went on a trip and found Sunni Islam and realized what truer Islam is supposed to be about. Realizing that in truer Islam, after Muhammad, there are no more messengers. There are no more messengers after that, thereby showing that Elijah Muhammad was a fake messenger, and so he converted over to Sunni Islam. That's from what we can gather, that is most likely why he had that change into Sunni Islam. People can have these emotional changes that causes them, or intellectual changes that causes them to walk away from a religion. But as long as the religion can sell you on the idea that it is based on your faith and your faith alone, and not based on the fact of you committing to actions that will give you the results that you desire, they will continue to sell you, and they will continue to fleece the people. If I truly wanted to become wealthy in a very short period of time, the only thing I would have to do is create a religion, and in creating that religion, I can gather money and any other things that I desire from multiple people. I can be that pastor who sits there and says, I need an airplane. I need a bigger house. I like expensive things. I was told of a pastor who came into his congregation and said, we need to raise $30,000 a day because I like expensive stuff. And by the end of the day, they raised $40,000. This is a fleecing of the people. This is a fleecing, if you are a Christian or any other religion, this is a fleecing of you every Sabbath, whatever your Sabbath is. Until you wake up from this and realize that you're being fleeced, you will always continue to be the sheep that will be sheared and that will be slaughtered. But if you wake up, then you will realize that, as Marcus Aurelius says, it is up to you. And then understand the law of cause and effect. For every cause, there is an effect. For every effect, there is a cause. And it is up to you to become the causation of your effects instead of allowing others and outside fake deities to become your causation. Because as long as you're waiting on others and you're waiting on fake deities, you will never receive what it is that is truly just for you. You will never get those things that you desire. You will never be able to manifest those things that you desire. And for everyone who's going to say that I've manifested this through Jesus, I've manifested this through God, I can find you a Hindu person who says they manifested the exact same thing through Krishna or Brahma. I can find a Muslim who said they manifested these things through Allah. Everyone has the same story. But the one thing that is true about each one of those stories is that that person had enough of a used the law of mentalism strong enough, and then committed to actions to bring about that result. Until you recognize that, you will never, ever truly be the master of yourself and the master of your own personal universe. So remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.